Got in the business in 1973, and the first sale I got on my own, I never collected any money. And I thought, well, you know, this isn't working real well. And I also knew Tucker Hawkins quite well, and he kept coercing me to go into it. So it's kind of hard to stick around, but this is where I grew up, and this is where my family was. When I did finally come to Tucker, that I was going with the best, and the times were as difficult. So I've told many of my clients, if they've asked me if this is the only place I've been, said no, but went through difficult times. I had to be with the best company that there was. And Tucker had the best training. My goodness, the people that your associates, they're such quality people. It's just, it's by far the best place, in my opinion, that you could work in real estate.
I started in the real estate business many years ago. Started out training at the Keystone office under Jim Litton and Dave Quaiser. I then went to the Meridian North office and worked under David Wilcox and Tucker Hawkins. I have been a real estate broker for many years, but did actually work in the Tucker office as a secretary. I then went to work for Title Services LLC as the closing department manager, vice president of Title Services. But the best part of it all is just working with all the agents. Never having actually sold real estate, I know that that job has got to be the hardest, and just working with them and the friendships that have formed. And they're more than just friends. All the real estate agents are more like your extended family.
Actually, I wound up having one sale that year, and of course there were people dropping out like flies in 1982. But the second year I qualified for President's Club. When I started with Tucker, Bud Tucker was at the helm, and with his kindness and professionalism, and I think those qualities have carried through all the 30 years. And I've been with the one Tucker office in Carmel, and I've never been tempted to go elsewhere. Lots of invitations, but never left it. The Danish Ministry of Housing decided they would build a house, and worked with them, and it was part of a home show at Geist in 1987, and Bud Tucker was very gracious to the Danish Ministry of Housing, and then I traveled to Denmark, and they hoisted the American flag where I stayed. It was very exciting.
The first full year I was in business, I did sell $1 million and have the lovely plaque from Bud Tucker to prove it, still hanging on my wall. The executives came to me and said, we need a department. Why? Because Tucker is not getting the relocation business. Well, in order to bring more business, I realized that you have to be visible in what was then a national industry. And the national vehicle was the Employee Relocation Council. So it was just standard procedure to go to those meetings twice a year, get involved in every way that you could so that you'd be networking and meeting people and drawing business as a result.
I think you have to be involved in a lot of things and not just real estate. I've sold a lot of houses over the bridge table to not only the players, but their kids. But I've been involved politically. I belong to a sorority. I belong to 2 Red Hat clubs. I play bridge 3 times a month, and that keeps me out with a lot of people, and they know what I do. Had a client that I was invited to their son's high school graduation party. So I went to it, and when I walked in, the house was full of people, and Walt said, "Quiet everybody, I want you to meet Georgia Miller. First, she's my friend. Second, she's my realtor." So those are the kind of things I remember.
Well, I got started in the mid-70s, and my husband was never ill, and he'd been ill that year, and we were like, what can Carol do if she'd have to support this family, because I'd been home raising children. And I had a friend that was going to real estate school, and she was real nervous about walking across the parking lot by herself at night. And she asked me to go with her. And I thought, well, I think it was 16 weeks or something like that, and I'd learned something, but there wasn't any way I could sell anything. And here I am. Tucker East office interviewed about 6 of us or so at the same time. And I felt I've interviewed some other places, that was the place for me. And I don't believe in moving around. I'm a firm believer that you stay where your past clients can find you. Well, I was among the first 4 people to ever make President's Club in the East office, and among the first 3 to ever make a lifetime member, and I thought that was something to be proud of.
Well, I started in December of 1971. There have been a lot of times that were what I guess you'd call rough times when I thought about getting out of the business. But the clinching question always was, okay, get out of the business, now what are you going to do? And I would think about various things, and I would come to the conclusion there's nothing I'd rather do than be in the real estate business. I think one of the things that overall about the business is the fact that as you help them, you're having fun, and then all of a sudden you get paid. Winning the Fred Tucker Senior Award is a very special award in that it's given to just one person each year. And the people that were given that award each year were people I really looked up to and admired. And so, as I say, when I won that award, it was a great thrill to think that my name was going to go on that plaque next to those other people. I was really honored to be in that group.
I have never thought about giving up. If I was going to do that, it probably would have been in the first year I was in the business, because the interest rates went from 9% to 18% the first year I was in the business. So I was so young and dumb that I did not know that this was a tough time. And I learned creative financing, how to wrap loans, how to do contracts, all of that in the very first year. And so the rest has really been kind of a breeze. I never anticipated that we would ever see single-digit interest rates again. So the interest rates today are just phenomenal to me. Keeping your face out in front of people is important, and I do that in Noblesville. The Deacon team is plastered all over Noblesville. I do love what I do. My husband's been retired for 12 years, and people keep saying, when are you going to retire? And I said, oh, but I love what I do. I don't want to retire.
I mean, there's been an awful lot of technology developments in the real estate business, but it still all comes back to the same thing. It's just kind of like Bud Tucker said, the more things change, the more they remain the same. And we still have to work with people, and we have to have them believe that we're the best person to solve their real estate needs. Yeah, I had gone with Walt Bopp, who was somebody that had previously been a manager and been with Tucker and very successful. And we were at a seminar, and the gentleman on the seminar said, you know, when you start in the real estate business, you're way overpaid. And when you've been there a while, you're underpaid. And you need to use your knowledge to create money for yourself. So the more you know about real estate, the more you should be able to take advantage of that knowledge and buy and sell real estate. That's what I tried to do.
Oh, I loved it at that office. It's difficult. Received a note from Joe McDonald that said it's very difficult to be competition one day and a part of the team the next. But we welcome you and we want you to be a part of the team. So it was they were very positive and really tried to make us feel welcome. I think the best thing about FC Tucker is that whenever I go to a listing presentation or showing buyers, I never have to sell FC Tucker. Everybody knows who FC Tucker is. I just have to sell myself, which is pretty easy. They either like me or they don't like me. But I never have to sell my company. I always just have to sell myself to the customer. I try to be the best. I try to be I try to treat all my customers just like I would want to be treated, or that I would want someone to treat my family. I wouldn't know what else to do. That's all I've ever done is real estate. I never really worked anywhere else, so that's all I know. And I love it, so all of my customers are like my family.
I was born in Virginia. We moved to Noblesville, Indiana when I was in kindergarten. Although people say that I sound like I just moved in, I've been here a long time. I worked for a builder for a short time, a very good custom builder in '77. He had a real estate agent, and I loved his real estate agent because he was always positive and upbeat, and he just was a great guy. And when he would come in and talk to the builder, I just always thought, I think that job would really be neat. I could talk, which I love to do. And the rest is history. I love what I do. Yeah, I love what I do. Couldn't do anything else. The only job I can talk and get paid for it, so I have to keep at it. I think I may try for Betty White. I think I might be still going at 90. We'll see.